Welcome to In Conversation with MANWAR podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Do Not Be a Bystander campaign. You can join us in raising awareness about bullying by visiting the donotbeabystander.com, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming episodes. Today's participants are Nyla and Arifa. Our special guest for today's episode is Gary Simpson.
I'm your host, MANWAR Khan. Today I'm joined by two young individuals who are ready to share their thoughts and insights on the topic of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a significant issue in today's digital age, where the internet and social media platforms play a prominent role in our lives. Today's participants have the same goal: eliminating cyberbullying from school and in the community. These young individuals are very passionate and addressing the issues of bullying and willing to empower others. So I would like to introduce you, Arifa and Naila, our today's participants. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting us here.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Hey. And so before we continue, I would like to introduce our special guest today's podcast, Gary Simpson. Gary will shed some lights on cyberbullying and give some tips and advice to you guys and to our viewers. And he will be listening to you, what you guys are saying. And if he wants to add at the end, he will be adding and giving you guys tips. All right. I would like to talk a little bit about Gary. Gary Simpson is ordained minister and a semi-retired teacher counselor. He's an activist and a volunteer with Stop Hate 1000, a group that works to reduce prejudice, discrimination, bullying, and hate. Thank you, Gary, for joining us today. You can see Gary is pretty famous in this city. You can see if you watch some news here, you can see his picture everywhere. And lots of rallies, you see him very active protester. So I would like to thank you, Gary, for joining here out of your busy schedule today. And now that we have introduced our participants and guests, let's get started with our question. My first question is for Arifa. So the rise of cyberbullying has become pressing concern, impacting the well-being of individuals, particularly their mental health. So my question for you is, can you define cyberbullying with some example, and how does it affect person's mental health?
Cyberbullying is bullying the use of electronic devices and online. The effects of cyberbullying can include mental health issues. For example, increase of stress, anxiety, depression, and acting out violently. This is why acting out violently. And cyberbullying can also include long-lasting emotional effects, even if the bullying has stopped. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So Arifa, thank you for your answer. So cyberbullying, you understand that cyberbullying is one of the technology. It's one of the main thing for cyberbullying, like social media or internet, right? So most of the things happens behind the monitor, right?
Yes.
You sometimes you don't even see that person. It's not only internet or social media, plus I would say cell phone. So I'm going to ask you a question here. If you receive a text that about your friends, and it was sent by another friend to 10 of your friends, and it's all bad stuff about that person, that person. What would be your role? Don't you think you should be talking to your parent first and do not spread it out,
Yes,
right?
I should not spread it out.
Yeah, that's the key point here. So, but the main point is here that this, if this is cyberbullying, use technology, and if somebody send a text or an image that you should not be seeing or you should not be sharing with other people. But the first thing I would say, you go and talk to a trusted adult or your mom and dad or your school teacher, somebody who you trust, and tell them that this is what they said they sent. You do not reply back. You do not send it to anybody else. This is somebody's personal information, maybe, right?
Yes,
So this
yes,
happens a lot. This is a type of cyberbullying we see here everywhere, actually, that people use Instagram and social media, Facebook, to do all those texting. So just want to let you know. Thank you so much. That was a great answer.
thank you.
Excellent. So when witnessing someone being cyberbullied, bystanders, the piece, that's the main theme of my entire campaign. So bystanders have the power to make a significant differences by intervening or providing support. So my question for Naila is, how can bystanders intervene and support someone who is being cyberbullied?
Thank you for the question. Bystanders play a crucial role in combating cyberbullying and providing support to those who are being targeted. The first thing a bystander can do is recognize the signs. Recognizing this problem is the first steps to our intervention. After that, the person can document evidence, report the bullying, or even seek help from professionals. Thank you. That'd be it.
Um, I agree with you that the first thing is acknowledge, and the second thing is report it. So, report to who you report to who? Authority or
Depends on the situation. For example, you can
right?
talk to your parents about it, or if it's too much or if it's too bad of a situation, you can even ask help from the authorities. It depends. But I would prefer asking and talking to it about it with our parents. That's the very first thing we should do.
Right. Exactly. Well, if somebody send you a text that you don't like, somebody else's text forwarded you a text you don't like, you may be not going to the police for that. But I totally agree with you. Situation, it depends on the situation. But if somebody is telling that, oh yeah, we are planning to beating him up next day or next week, in that case, yes, I would say if there is a issue of safety, you definitely contact the law enforcement agencies, right? Excellent. Great answer. Thank you so much. Nala, my next question, I have one more question for you. What role can school play in addressing and preventing cyberbullying?
So, schools play a crucial role in addressing and preventing cyberbullying. The first thing schools can do is educate, and that creates awareness. Schools can incorporate cyberbullying prevention programs into their curriculum. These programs can raise awareness about the consequences of cyberbullying, teach students about responsible digital citizenship, and promote empathy and respect online. Thank you. That'll be it.
Yeah. So more of what you said, it means basically the gist is educating people, more people, create awareness, right? Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect. Do you guys have any other things, Arifa and Nala? Anything else you want to add?
No,
No,
If
not really.
all right, we have come to the end of the podcast. Now I would like to invite Gary to shed some lights and your opinion and advice and tips. Thank you, Gary.
Oh, thank you. Uh, you both did a wonderful job. Uh, you have an ability to speak and to say your opinions in a way that I think is really outstanding. So I appreciate your stepping up and addressing a very difficult, challenging topic. I deal with cyberbullying virtually every day because I have a lot of social media accounts. So it's a real thing. Now, what I have done, and as just advice in general, and I think your position that you both mentioned is talk to parents first is really, really appropriate. But what I will do in many cases, if it's an account that has come on and said something on one of my social media accounts that is in very bad, I will often go and check out that account a bit in detail, and then I will take, and some of these accounts are very small. It's probably the same person with multiple accounts. So I go in and I find all the people that are following that person. I block every one of those people. Then I find all the people that that person is following. I block all those accounts too. Then the final step is to block that account. So I might end up blocking 15 or 20 accounts. But what I'm trying to do is to make sure that person cannot come back on my account with a different name, a different username, and different account and start doing the same thing again. And that has been fairly successful. I've done that on TikTok, which has a lot of bullying on it. I've done that on Twitter, which used to have quite a bit of bullying as well. And if I'm in someone, this is the bystander portion, if I'm in someone's account or watching someone following someone on social media and I see something that's inappropriate, I will report it to that social media platform. So I did that recently. It's not always successful. I did that recently on TikTok, and the person's account received an official reprimand from TikTok. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they just suspended them for a period of time or they removed the account. So that's something that can be done. There's only once where I've had to involve the police because I felt it was serious enough the police needed to be involved. But generally, I haven't done that. And I'm trying to think what else I was going to mention on. Oh, and as a bystander, there's another thing you can do. This is protecting yourself. If I'm in someone's live on social media, for example, and they're broadcasting out on social media, and I see stuff coming in that I think is inappropriate, I will block the person immediately who did that. Because then I don't have to worry about them coming after me. And being safe yourself is really, really important. Even if it's not quite to the stage where it would be a violation of community standards, if you just don't think you want to deal with that person, it's okay to go ahead and block.
That's a great point, actually. The first thing would be block that person. But if that person sent you a message, the first thing is you take a screenshot of that. The purpose of showing it to the authority, not the purpose of spreading it out. I don't like taking screenshot, but in some cases, when you block that person, all the message gone. So you do not have any proof or evidence. So you take a screenshot and then block that person so that you do not receive any more messages from this guy and that person. So that is a very important thing. And exactly, I like that idea, actually. Yeah, that's true. And do you guys have any question for Gary? Gary, do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so.
All right. If not, thank you so much, Gary, for joining us today. And thank you, Naila and Arifa, for joining us for this episode, Cyberbullying. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Before we wrap up, I would like to remind our listeners that there are several resources available to help individuals dealing with bullying. Government of Alberta has a helpline. It's 1-888-456-2323. And this helpline provides support and advice for the people who experience bullying. Bullying is unacceptable. It is a violation of human rights. As a community, we have our shared responsibilities to stand against bullying and refuse to be a bystander. Thank you for joining in conversation with MANWAR, and see you next week. Bye.